There's a bunch of ways the pandemic changed everything. But if you know what really happened, you'll understand why your Saturday morning tea time now costs more than your car payment. Here's the setup. For over a decade before COVID hit, golf was dying a slow, expensive death. From 2006 to 2019, over 1,500 golf courses closed their doors permanently. That's more than 150 courses per year vanishing from the landscape. 2019 alone saw 246 course closures, the highest number on record. Operators were going bankrupt. Municipal courses were bleeding money. Private clubs were folding. The business model was fundamentally broken. Then March 2020 happened. Lockdowns, social distancing. Suddenly, golf was one of the few activities you could actually do safely outdoors. And here's the brutal truth about what happened next. Average U.S. green fees jumped from $38 in 2019 to $49 in 2024. That's a 29% increase. While you were stuck at home binge-watching Netflix, golf courses were quietly executing the greatest pricing heist in sports history. Today we're breaking down the winners, the losers, and the ugly reality of why that municipal track you used to play for $30 now charges you like you're teeing it up at Pebble Beach. The forever boom, demand didn't drop, it stabilized. Everyone expected the COVID golfers to quit, sell their clubs, go back to brunch and bottomless mimosas. They didn't. Rounds played are still holding 12% above pre-pandemic levels. This isn't a spike anymore. It's the new baseline. When demand stays this high for 4 straight years, pricing power shifts entirely to the seller. Here's what's really wild. The National Golf Foundation shows peak season rates are up 15% since 2021 alone. But here's the kicker. Many core golfers are actually playing less because of cost and time constraints. So who's filling all these tee sheets? New players. Guys who have zero memory of $30 green fees. They don't complain about paying $60 because they don't know any better. To them, expensive golf is just golf. The boom isn't being driven by diehards playing more. It's sustained by fresh blood that doesn't know they're getting fleeced. Think about this. Before 2020, courses were closing at a rate of 150 plus per year. Now, course closures have dropped to almost nothing. The same facilities that couldn't survive charging $35 are now thriving at $55. That's not inflation. That's market correction disguised as pandemic pricing. The correction narrative, making up for lost time. Here's something courses don't want you to know. For the entire decade before 2020, green fees lagged behind inflation. Courses were cannibalizing themselves just to fill tee sheets. They were trapped in a death spiral. Lower prices to attract players. Defer maintenance to cut costs. Watch the course condition decline. Lower prices again to compensate. Repeat until bankruptcy. Now they're back billing us for 10 years of cheap golf. They're not just covering today's costs. They're recovering yesterday's lost margins. Look at Castle Rock in the UK. They went from 160 pounds to 270 pounds in 1 year. That's a 69% increase. Inflation is running 3 to 4%. This isn't inflation. This is strategic market correction disguised as necessity. Think about it. Before 2020, a huge percentage of public courses were operating at a loss or barely breaking even. The parking lot might be full, but the books were bleeding red ink. Municipal courses were particularly brutal. City councils viewed them as money pits, taxpayer burdens, political liabilities. Many were actively looking for excuses to sell the land to developers. Courses aren't rich because they're busy. They're finally becoming solvent because they can charge what the market will actually bear. The correction narrative isn't just spin. It's economic reality catching up to a decade of unsustainable pricing. The Veblen good effect. Why elite courses want to be expensive. At the top end, high prices aren't a bug. They're a feature. Shadow Creek went from $600 to $1,250. Pebble Beach and Pinehurst No. 2 are pushing $470 to $675. These aren't pricing mistakes. They're strategic moves. Here's the psychology. If Shadow Creek dropped their price to $200 tomorrow, the allure for rich traveling golfers would actually decrease. High prices validate the experience as luxury worth bragging about on Instagram. For destination courses, raising prices often increases demand because it signals exclusivity. You're not just buying a round of golf, you're buying a story to tell at the 19th hole for the next decade. The bucket list golfer doesn't want a deal. He wants proof he played somewhere special. The receipt is part of the trophy. This creates a weird dynamic where courses compete to be more expensive, not less. Bandon Dunes can charge $400 plus because Pebble charges $600 plus. The pricing ladder keeps climbing because exclusivity sells. Premium courses learned something important during the pandemic. Their customers aren't price sensitive, they're experience sensitive. Raise the price, improve the experience, and demand actually increases. It's counterintuitive, but it works. The Veblen effect is alive and well in golf. The muni squeeze, no longer the people's game. The biggest percentage pain isn't at Pebble Beach, it's at your local municipal track. Average value courses have moved from the $30 range to the $50 to $60 range, especially in golf hubs like Arizona, Florida, and South Carolina. The cheap option has been gentrified. Check this out. Alaska's average green fee is $14. But if you live in a Sunbelt golf destination, the average is now $60 to $70. The affordable round has been priced out of existence. Municipal courses used to exist to provide affordable recreation, but city councils viewed golf courses as money pits for years. Maintenance costs, water bills, debt service on clubhouse renovations that never paid off. Now that they're profitable, cities are treating them as cash cows to fund other municipal deficits. They're aggressively raising rates to match market value rather than keeping them accessible. The people's game just got a lot more expensive for the people. Here's the cruel irony. The same municipal courses that were on the chopping block in 2019 are now profit centers for city budgets. They went from liability to asset overnight, and they're pricing accordingly. Your local muni isn't trying to be affordable anymore. It's trying to maximize revenue per round. And with demand still elevated, they can get away with it. Operational headwinds, the greedflation defense. It's easy to yell greed, but let's talk about fertilizer. NPK fertilizer costs have skyrocketed. Diesel for mowers, hourly labor. Golf is labor intensive, and you can't automate cutting a cup or raking a bunker. According to Lightspeed HQ, operators are passing rising wages directly to consumers. If the kid mowing greens costs 30% more than in 2019, your green fee goes up 30%. But here's what's really happening. Courses are using inflation as cover for pricing they should have implemented years ago. That extra $15 per round? On many mid-tier courses, maybe $5 goes to actual cost increases. The other $10 is pure margin recovery from the lost decade. The owner isn't getting rich overnight. He's just trying to make up for 10 years of operating at break-even or worse. Insurance premiums alone have doubled at many facilities. Workers' comp, general liability, property insurance. The cost of doing business has exploded, but so has the ability to pass those costs along. Before the pandemic, courses had no pricing power. Raise rates and players would just go somewhere cheaper. Now, there is no somewhere cheaper. Everyone raised rates together. It's not a conspiracy. It's market dynamics finally working in the operator's favor. Yield management revolution. Uber surge pricing arrives. Courses finally figured out dynamic pricing. In 2019, they used it to discount empty tee times. Fill the sheet, make something. In 2024, they use it to raise primetime slots. Saturday morning at 8 a.m. is now surge pricing territory. The Golf Business Pulse survey shows only 11% of facilities plan to keep rates flat. The vast majority are pushing rate because they can. The rack rate is dead. You're now bidding against your neighbors for weekend tee times. Want a fixed price? You're playing at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday in February. Welcome to golf's version of airline pricing. Peak demand equals peak prices. This is where technology finally caught up to golf. Tee time booking systems now adjust prices in real time based on demand, weather, and historical data. The same tee time can cost $45 on Monday and $85 on Saturday. Courses are getting sophisticated about revenue optimization. They're studying their data. When do people book? What times sell out first? How much will the market bear? The result is pricing that maximizes revenue per available tee time. It's efficient from a business perspective. It's brutal from a golfer's wallet perspective. The latent demand safety net. Why are courses so bold with these price hikes? Because of the bench. 24 million Americans say they're very interested in playing golf but haven't started yet. That's a massive waiting list of potential customers who don't know what things used to cost. If a price hike knocks out 5% of old school regulars who complain about pace of play, there's a fresh layer of COVID converts ready to take those spots. And they don't know any better. Customer loyalty used to protect you from price hikes. Now, a cynical operator views a loyal regular demanding discounts as a liability. They prefer the once-a-month golfer who pays full rack rate and buys 6 beers without complaining. The churn factor is real, and it's working in the course's favor. Here's the math. Lose one regular who plays 50 rounds at $40 each, $2,000 annual revenue. Replace him with 2 casual players who each play 15 rounds at $60 each, $1,800 total. You made less money, but you also dealt with fewer complaints, less wear on the course, and faster pace of play. From a business perspective, it's a no-brainer. From a community perspective, it's the death of golf culture as we knew it. The asset bubble, the owner's real victory. Here's the dirty secret. The biggest win for owners wasn't cash flow from green fees. It was asset value appreciation. Course sale prices are up 38% from 2023 to 2025. Investors are buying courses not just for operational income, but because golf properties are now seen as stable, cash-flowing real estate assets. High green fees pump the valuation for future sales or refinancing. The exit strategy is where the real money gets made. Your expensive round of golf isn't just funding course operations. It's inflating the owner's net worth on paper. Private equity firms are now actively acquiring golf courses as alternative investments. They're not golf guys. They're spreadsheet guys who see predictable cash flows and appreciating real estate. This creates a feedback loop. Higher revenues justify higher valuations. Higher valuations attract more investment capital. More investment capital drives up acquisition prices. Higher acquisition prices require higher revenues to service debt. The result? Upward pressure on green fees that has nothing to do with the cost of maintaining the course and everything to do with financial engineering. Golf courses have become financial assets first, recreational facilities second. That's a fundamental shift that explains why pricing feels disconnected from value. The verdict. Were golf courses the biggest winners from the pandemic? Absolutely. They used a perfect storm of demand, inflation cover, and lifestyle shifts to completely reset the economics of the sport. It hurts our wallets, but frankly, it saved the industry. In 2019, courses were closing at record rates. Operators were going bankrupt. The business model was broken. Golf was genuinely dying in many markets. Now they're healthy, profitable, and sustainable. The price of saving golf was making it expensive again. Your survival strategy. But you don't have to get crushed by golf inflation. Here's how to beat the system. Strategy 1. The membership arbitrage. Public rates rose 30%, but private club dues often rose only 5 to 10% because they're locked in by contract. If you play 3 times a month or more, private or semi-private is now mathematically cheaper in most markets. Strategy 2. The shoulder sniper. Stop playing Saturday mornings. The data shows the biggest price hikes hit peak time slots. Twilight and Super Twilight rates are the last bastion of value golf. Strategy 3. The geographic play. That Arizona winter golf trip just got a lot more expensive. But courses in non-destination markets are still reasonable. Road trip to Kansas, anyone? The courses won this round, but smart golfers can still find ways to play without going broke. I want to hear from you. What was your home course charging in 2019 versus today? Drop those numbers in the comments. Let's see which state is getting hit the hardest by golf inflation. And if you want more strategies for surviving expensive golf, check out my breakdown of why buying new clubs every year is the biggest waste of money in golf. Links right here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the first tee, assuming you can still afford it.